Vocal topic of the week 24, self-awareness. Okay, so self-awareness, big topic. How does it affect us in singing? What is it? What can we do about it? Let me see if I can front load the front of this video, and then I'll let my down the rabbit hole come later, okay? What I mean by self-awareness is you've got to be aware of your thoughts, and you have to be mindful of your thoughts and your emotions as a daily practice to be a performer. And I would go as to say maybe as a human being, but specifically as a performer and as a singer. It's very easy to get derailed into head games as a singer. It's very easy to, when you're going into a practice session, be stressed out or in the wrong emotional state, or you just broke up, or things, or whatever is going on in your emotional life, and have that affect your ability to be productive as a singer. And in addition to that, self-awareness is super needed in the acting side of things, as you're becoming mindful of the thoughts of the character and thoughts of your emotions, or thoughts of the character's emotions. So this self-awareness is really critical. How many times throughout the day do you feel like your mind goes off on a tangent of something you don't want to be thinking about, but you just keep thinking about it over and over and over, you know? That train of thought, that thing, it happens to us all the time. With singers, I feel, well, I don't know if I can say it's any more or less than anyone else, but I can say, God, it's amazing how much it feels like it happens, especially in singing, because we're dealing with something so personal. It's not an external thing that we can say, put it away. It's our voice, it's our expressive mechanism. It's vulnerable to be emotional in front of people. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into getting to a place where you can stand up on stage and feel okay with yourself, exposing yourself emotionally to strangers or to people that you're close to. That's a lot to go through emotionally. And self-awareness is the first place to start. If you're not aware of where you are emotionally, or aware of the chatter that's going through your head day by day, moment by moment, how do you honestly expect to create a consistent emotional experience for someone else using your own emotional world? You know, it's just not logically possible. There has to be this checking in, this daily checking in, and this skill, this honed in skill of doing that allows you to be able to say, whoa, you know, for instance, I go to practice, and let's say I went to a concert, and there was I went to a concert last night, and I've been working so hard on singing a big song, you know, like I've been working on singing Freeze Your Brain, okay, as a musical theater song. I've got it, and then I actually go see Heather's, and I see the performance, like, oh my God, I'm never gonna sound like that, ever, you know? And so you start to, okay, actually, you know what, I'm gonna use a real example of something that happened to me. I sang in a master class once for Cheryl Milnes. Cheryl Milnes is a famous American baritone. Unbelievable, you know, incredible voice. I was 21. I sang in this master class for him, and I sang my guts out, I thought, and I did at the time. I sang a già vinta la causa, the Count's aria. And I remember standing on stage, and I had this little recording, and I could see I was going up to like 3 or 4 bars with my loudness, how loud I was singing. He demonstrated one little because I had this like mini disc recorder. He demonstrated one passage where he went up to like, he just went, "E poi Anton." He sang this like up part, and he like doubled the volume level of just like doing a mid-voice demonstration. And when I heard, it sounded like someone had put a megaphone in his chest or something. And when I heard that sound, I was like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think, it's actually possible for me to make that much sound. Okay, unchecked, that thing going unchecked, what does that do? That fuels me the next day I'm practicing. I'm like, oh my God, Cheryl Milnes' voice is so big, it's so big. How do I make more sound? I start pushing. But I'm not even aware necessarily that was the motivation for me to start pushing. And then I spend maybe 3, whatever I don't recall if I started pushing after him. I probably did. I was pushing all the time then anyway. But like, the idea is that if I were self-aware, if I had tools that would have made me go and daily check in on Tim's emotions and say, whoa, and maybe you talk to somebody too about it, that's okay too. And I would have said, hey, Wow, I just really was freaked out by how big his voice was. Holy cow, look at how many thoughts I have going about pushing and trying to be loud because I need to match the amount of energy he has in his singing. So then, you know, see, very logically, that emotion unchecked, that emotion without me being present to it, would fuel me to start on a tangent of behaviors that I'm not even aware of. Okay? So this emotional mindfulness is important for us to stay on task with what's really the priority. And that's why, you know, a lot of my job with you guys is I do check in with you emotionally. And I'm not a psychologist, you know, and I really am not, but I do try to get you to a baseline emotional state in whatever way I can before we start singing. If you come in and you're up to here and you're about to cry, the first thing I say to you is going to cause the flood to go, and you're going to lose it, and then we'll lose the lesson. And it's, you know, and so dealing with these emotions daily is going to help you. So, okay, so if we got to that point, you're like, okay, great. So self-awareness is great. That's a good theory, Tim, but how do we do it? I talk about it a lot with people, and it's something I'm very passionate about, mindful practice, self-awareness, and everybody has a different pathway to get to their own way of understanding mindfulness in themselves. I can talk to you about the way that I do. It sounds like it might get noisy here. Hopefully you can still hear me. So my mindful practice, to recycling, is I do some work where I concentrate on feeling energy in my body, and I won't get into the details of it. It's based out of some of Eckhart Tolle techniques of meditating, where I try to meditate on feeling sort of this tingling energy in my body and just holding on to that, and my mind will wander and I come back to it and mind wander, and eventually the more that I do that, I just feel that tingling energy kind of coming up through my body, and it becomes an overall really pleasing sensation just to sit in. And then after that, what I typically will do is I start to really look at my thinking from that tingly sort of nice feeling place, and I'll just watch my thoughts and like look and just see what kind of stuff my mind thinks is a big deal today, and I'll look at that and I'll study that. And then after I do that for a while and just check in and just sort of open up to see what, you know, what the universe has to show me, use whatever language you want on that. Then what I do is I clear it out. I start to work on just taking the thoughts and just slowing them down and just eventually sort of cutting the tail of them, so that when I start to become aware of a thought, I just sort of let it release until I can feel myself in that silence, that stillness, and just sit there and just enjoy that. And that's where the magic of meditating is. That's where it's like, whew, there's something more down here. That I always feel that way when I get to that place. But at the very least, every time I do it, I come out feeling peaceful. I feel more at peace with my thoughts, more at peace with whatever emotion I'm processing. And I don't try to change my emotion either. Like, if there's a resistance in there, or if, you know, in a singing context, if you start to practice and you feel a lot of like, you suck, you're never gonna get it, you're never gonna get there. If you feel that negative chatter coming in, don't fight it, don't try to get rid of it. Just kind of create it like a little space around it and just stay there and just let it be. It doesn't like you to just be okay with it, you know, because it has power by getting you off on these tangents. It's like the fear, it has a mind of its own or something. So just allow yourself, no matter what emotion you're having, to just allow it to be there. And eventually, if you can get to a place to be grateful for it, that's the miracle, to say, oh, thank God I have fear to practice through today, you know? It takes, I don't know, I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I'm trying. But anyway, so if I'm to say the thing that's going to help you guys the most, really, self-awareness is so deep because it gets into the operating software and it changes your behaviors. And I can fix the external, I can fix your voice and get in there and get the sounds we want, but I can't fix you keeping it going there and keeping the energy of your studies going in the right direction. That's an inside game that I can help steer you on, and I can be your confidant, and you can confide in me. But This is your daily work of self-awareness. So do some research on it. Find your own way. I love Eckhart Tolle stuff personally. There's lots of avenues you can do practice meditation. But meditation that's the key to self-awareness. If you're not aware of your thoughts, how are you going to choose which paths to go down? You know, and if you're not aware of your emotions, then you have no hope of really being the one steering the helm in your life. Singing. I have to make this about singing, but it really is the same thing. So that's what I say. I find myself talking about it with people all the time. They come in all rattled. I'm like, we got to meditate first. So do it before the lesson, or we'll do it when you get here. You know. Anyway, there you go. Have a great week.